Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, welcome back to the Missing Links Golf Show as we creep ever so slowly closer and closer to our 50th episode.
We are very close now, aren't we?
We're not quite there, but we're close.
Yes, very excited, actually. Did you end up getting that bat that we talked about?
I did have a look. I did have a look online.
The special Missing Links Golf Show cricket bat.
I did have a little bit of a look online, and you could purchase some sort of what do they call it? You know, when they do the engraving, where they sort of burn into the wood. That, that sort of engraving. You could do that with the name down the back of the bat. A little bit overpriced for mine, so
right.
I felt like it was possibly too much of a financial commitment just for a sight gag on the 50th episode. But anyway.
Okay. So what you feel as though we need some more sponsorships? Is that like what you're thinking?
Maybe Gray Nichols, if you're out there.
Yeah, Gray Nichols, do you want to sponsor a golf show?
Yeah, I mean, how good would that be? You know, the new series of Gray Nichols irons. That'd be fantastic. Actually, if you had your choice of sporting brand that currently does not do golf equipment, you know, like for example, Tiger Woods brought Nike into the golfing realm. If you could pioneer a sporting brand to come into the golfing realm to, let's say, make golf clubs, who would you go for? Andy Walker.
Head.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. As in the tennis racket brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who better to make a club than Head?
A club head. Would they make the shaft as well, or would they just make the head? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a tough one. I feel like I wouldn't mind a driver made by Duncan Fernley. I reckon that could be pretty good.
Well, go back to the Persimmon drivers, and I mean, I reckon they'd go right at that.
Yeah, they'd probably go okay. I don't know what their pedigree is in titanium related products, but yeah.
But they go right with the Willow though.
Oh, who made the aluminium bat for Dennis Lilly back in the 1980s? I don't even know who that was.
That was hilarious.
We'll have to do a bit of research on that because maybe they could do a nice aluminium driver.
Yeah. Again, I'm not convinced that aluminium would work as a driver head either. I mean,
probably
very
not.
tinny.
It would be. It was pretty tinny as a cricket bat, to be fair. Well, that's a bit of a random opening to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Once again, no script. We'll see where it leads. That's a good start. Andy Walker, there's a bit to talk about tonight, but mainly about you, about your golf, which is exciting. You had a little bit of time away from the sport due to injury, but now it seems that you're back with a vengeance. And I feel like we're in a situation where we can't get both of us playing golf at the same time. It's one or the other. And we're into an Andy Walker phase.
Yeah, I mean, I am playing a lot of golf at the moment. Unfortunately, that also includes each round.
Oh,
I'm playing too much golf.
Too much golf.
But look, it's good to be back playing again. It's good to actually be able to get out in the golf course and play around the golf and not feel as though I'm going to be injured, which is sort of where I am at the moment. And even when I first started coming back, not quite a month ago, 3 weeks ago, I still felt fragile. Certainly my sternum felt still a bit fragile, but now I didn't even think about it. You know, my last couple of rounds have not even thought about the sternum or the ribs or any of that. So I feel as though I've moved sort of past it and I'm now sort of laying the groundwork again. And, you know, the unfortunate thing is obviously I was playing pretty well back in April and May. I've had 3 months away from the game and I feel like I'm back sort of where I was around sort of the end of February, early March, whereas I feel like there's good golf there, but it's just not. I just don't have the consistency to be able to put a full round of golf together, and that's coming through in my scores at the moment.
Yeah, that's not good. But good to hear the improvement from the injury situation, because let's face it, nobody likes playing golf with a fragile sternum.
No, definitely not, and I can vouch for the fact that it is not pleasant.
No,
but it's it was what it was, and I was a bit concerned there for a little while. Sometimes you're sort of in the middle of these things and you feel as though there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you just and I was, and even my my mental sort of state was sort of not particularly positive. Certainly in the middle of it there, when it started to drag on for its third month, and I couldn't get out and play. And anytime I even went out into the high performance center and hit a few balls, I could feel it, and I just didn't feel as though I could play a full round of golf. So sort of come full circle. That was a month or so back, but now in a lot better frame of mind, given I've been able to get out of the office and get out of the house and play some golf. But yeah, looking forward to maybe in the next month or so playing some good golf again.
Do you feel that your mindset to injuries has changed as you've gotten older, in terms of when you were 20 odd, you get a bit of a niggle, and it kind of doesn't concern you too much because you think I'll shake this off and I'll be right, whereas now maybe you think might be a little bit harder to make a comeback?
I actually think that my mindset is still where it was in my 20s, where I expect to get over injuries really quickly.
You just don't.
And when I don't, I get really frustrated.
Yeah, that might be a better way of putting it.
I think that's it, rather than having an expectation that, that I'm not going to get over the injury. It's sort of, I still feel as, and what 50-year-old bloke doesn't feel like they're still in their 20s. Let's face it. It's.
I'd hope you still feel like that when you're 80, Andy Walker.
Yeah, long lost youth.
Well, that is really what we're all about here on the Missing Links Golf Show. It's trying to reclaim that sporting glory of years gone by.
But with injury recovery, it's a little bit not so much, rather than reclaiming anything. But
no, fair point. Speaking of reclaiming things, well, actually not at all. Horrible segue. Speaking about inconsistent rounds of golf is probably a better segue. I do want to circle back to friend of the Missing Links Golf Show, Rory McIlroy. Andy Walker. We've spoken of Rory quite a bit, and speaking of fragile sternums, Rory's mental fragility has been a bit of a topic of conversation between us. Rory just played Irish Open.
Wait. Talking about fragile sternums, then you move on to his mental state.
Mental fragility. It's just the word
just
fragile.
Explain that to me.
It's just the fragility is the connection there. Fragile sternum, fragile brain. Obviously, after the US Open, we spoke about Rory quite a bit, right?
Yep.
And we talked about his capitulation to Bryson DeChambeau in the final round, and a couple of the disappointing decisions that he made on the way in that led to him squandering a lead. Interestingly, I don't know if you managed to catch any of the Irish Open over the weekend just gone.
No, I actually didn't. I was playing a bit too much golf myself.
Yeah, so Rory was leading by a couple,
right,
with a handful of holes remaining. When Rasmus Højgaard finished birdie, par, birdie, birdie, birdie over the last 5 holes.
It's a good finish.
To Rory McIlroy's, what was it? Bogey, birdie, par, bogey, birdie finish. Par 5 last. Had to eagle the last to force a playoff and actually hit an incredible drive, an incredible second, and just missed the putt, tapped in for birdie, so he didn't make the eagle. But really it was on the 17th hole, par 4 17th. Rasmus found the greenside bunker, a couple of groups in front, and holed out from the bunker for birdie.
Yep.
Rory found the green in regulation and three stabbed for bogey.
Ouch.
And I don't know. I felt, and then he went to birdie the last, but at that point he was trailing by 2, so no longer was he protecting a lead. He was trying to chase it down, and he looked a different player when he then had to throw everything to the wind and try and win it on the, or at least try and force a play off on the last hole. So nothing to lose. He looked a different player versus when he was protecting his lead, and that's probably the topic of conversation. I just think there is a massive, massive mental block for Rory when he's got a small lead coming down the stretch.
Yeah, right. Okay.
He looked like he was playing with fear.
Yep.
Whereas Rasmus was just playing shot by shot. He was fearless versus fearful. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's and we discussed at length the potential mental challenges that Rory's going to have as a result of what happened in the US Open. So I'm not surprised. I mean, if he's going to get past it, I guess the first thing he's got to do is just win a tournament, regardless of what tournament that is. He's just got to win one. Then I think he's got to work himself back up into the majors. And whether, I mean, look, and I think it's going to take a fair bit of mental fortitude to be able to do that. And again, I think I drew comparisons to Greg Norman a few times in that Norman was still able to win regular tour events and regular tour tournaments, but in the majors, he won a couple of British Opens, but yeah, the capitulations in the majors it was just almost every time he was in contention, there would be something that happens to him that just didn't happen to Tiger Woods. It didn't happen to Nick Faldo. It didn't happen to Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson and these great players. Sort of like Phil Mickelson in his early days. Something always happened to him.
Finn Mickelson, what's that?
Phil Mickelson. In the early, I mean, what did he won his first major at 33 or 34?
Yeah.
And then went on to win, I think he's won 6. So,
yeah.
That's taken I think that's taken a fair bit of mental fortitude, given Phil credit where credit's due, to come back from those early setbacks and be able to put together, 6 major wins. I think that's a great effort.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. But I think with Rory at the moment, that when he's in contention, he's so wound up about the outcome, and he's so concerned about the potential to lose that it's just swallowing him up. And I think what he's also doing is he's trying, and I'm projecting here. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Rory, but it's probably not a bad guess. But
Rory, if you're listening,
here you go. Strap yourself in, because we're going to pick you apart right now psychologically for a moment. But I'm basing this on watching the body language and kind of a little bit of lip reading on some of the mumbles that he has to himself between shots, right? And also the things that he says in the interviews before and after rounds when he's in contention. And he's always talking about things like, I'm playing really well, I'm playing really good golf, to get myself in contention. It's just, putts are going to drop and it'll be my day and this, that, and the rest of it. I'm not hearing any kind of, and fair enough, because you never do from professional sports people. They don't really show the vulnerabilities in media or interviews, and I understand why. But I think when he's in those moments, he's trying to positive talk his way through it and squash out any of the negative talk. Now, we know from the lessons we've learned over the last 49 episodes of the Missing Links Golf Show, that does not work. And the negative thought's going to creep in there at some point. I feel like the process is potentially, the growth for him is going to be acknowledging it in the moment rather than being in the moment going, no, I'm going to force my way through this by, strength of will and overcome the adversity. But just to stand there and go, yeah, I'm under pressure. I'm nervous. I'm feeling it. And I'm tightening up. But that's okay, because that's the position I want to put myself in. And then that can just deflate the situation a little bit and enable him to go on and play rather than trying to go, no, I'm not going to feel these things. I'm not going to lose again. Today's going to be the day, and just build that tension. And that's where I feel he's going at the moment. And that's what it looked like. And because as soon as then on 17, when he ran his first putt about 6 foot past, you could see him visibly crumble, and you could see him not just think about he missed that putt, but that he was probably going to miss the comebacker. And if he missed the comebacker, he was probably going to lose the tournament. And you could just see all these thoughts actually really building on him. And that's my psychological assessment. Rory, if you're out there, give me a call. We'll sort you out.
Well, it's interesting because that's very similar to the 18th that
absolutely
in the US Open. I mean, I don't think there was anyone watching that last part at Pinehurst that thought he was going to make that 3-footer.
It was never going in.
It was so obvious that he was. And you could almost see it in slow motion, the capitulation.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a difficult putt in that situation. It broke a heap and all the rest. So it was a difficult putt. But you would still think that someone of that skill in the moment with the right mental aptitude and outlook. I mean, could you imagine Tiger Woods missing that putt?
No, absolutely not. We talked exactly about this. Like, I think if you take that putt out of that situation and you give Rory that putt on a social round of golf with us on a weekend, he probably makes that putt 7 or 8 times out of 10. And the other couple of times that he misses, it probably horseshoes or at least catches the hole. Like, he missed the hole.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was tense and it was defensive. And I know it was downhill, so it kind of had to be, but you're right, like all those things in the body language, you could just see there was all of the thoughts about what missing the putt would mean rather than what making the putt or just what putting a good stroke on the putt.
Yes. Yeah. Just thinking about process and thinking about what he's there to do.
Anyway, that was sort of my observation, and it was amazing just to see it happen again, and it was... Yes, Rasmus played out of his skin down the stretch, and he had a couple of things go his way, holding a bunch shot on 17 for him. Obviously, that was fortunate.
Someone's going to do that each week.
Yeah, but it was still there for the taking. That was the thing. Like, it was, he still helped him out.
The quality of players that are on, regardless of what tour it is, if you're coming down the stretch, you are going to have someone come at you. And you've got to be able to deal with it and go to the next level. And if you can't do that, you're not going to win very often. I mean, it's difficult. It's incredibly difficult to win on tour because of the quality that's out there.
For sure. And so you can't give your opponent any assistance.
No.
And unfortunately, that's what Rory's doing at the moment. So, look, we wish him well. We hope that he manages to sort it out. But I legitimately do think that he's exactly a guy who needs to have a chat with a sports psychologist, some sort of professional to help him out mentally, because I just don't think he's dealing with those big moments very well at the moment.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. Looking forward to the next season of Full Swing to see if they delve into that one a little bit. And to the producers of Full Swing, feel free to give us a call if you'd like any expert commentary. We've obviously covered this topic ad nauseum over the Missing Links Golf Show. We can certainly help you out. But Andy Walker, enough about Rory McIlroy. Let's get back to you. I want to hear about some of the rounds that you've had lately.
Well, I have had 2 senior events that I've played in. About a week or so ago, I first of all played in the Kooindah Seniors. Now, this was after my
challenging day
adventure. I guess adventure at Glenmore when I shot 90 in the howling hurricane. So look, I did, have a couple of sessions in the high performance center, spent a little bit of time on the practice putting green and chipping just to see if I can get my game into some sort of order. I mean, look, it was only a week between events, so it's not exactly going, a huge amount of time between the two, but I just wanted to, I guess, shake off that experience with Glenmore and just see if I could sort of find something again with my swing.
Nice Taylor Swift reference as well. Andy Walker.
Really? I missed that.
Yeah.
What was
you're going to shake it off. That's all.
Wow. You can tell you've got a daughter who listens to Taylor Swift.
14-year-old daughter this week. Yep. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a window into my world.
Yeah. Yes. So look, had a morning tea time, and it was a really good day. It was breeze was a little bit breezy, but certainly nothing like Glenmore. Probably talking about 20 to 25 kilometre-hour winds. So what's that about? 15 miles an hour. So enough for maybe a club or two if you're depending on which way the hole's facing. But I felt pretty good at the start. Had a interesting start in that at Kooindah Waters, it's the opening hole's a par 5, and there's water left and water right. So I don't usually hit a driver off that tee, and decided that I wasn't going to stray away from my game plan. Surprisingly, we were playing off, fairly forward tees. Like it was probably, it probably was even a little bit further forward than say a midweek comp.
That is unusual.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that we were playing that.
Seniors event though.
It is a seniors event, but usually, so in the seniors events that I've played in, we sort of play, generally speaking, off the Saturday markers, right? So members Saturday comp. We don't play off
the plates. Yep.
And we're not playing off the midweek comp tees either. But, well, apparently at Kooindah we do. So so anyway, I hit a reasonable sort of 3 hybrid off the first. Wanted to lay out with my second, and I was in the rough, and I just got a flyer, which means it traveled a little bit further than what I thought, and ended up in a bunker about 50 meters short of the green.
Oh no.
I hit a shank from a third out of the bunker into the greenside bunker.
Wow.
So probably not the best start that I wanted to have, I must admit. However, I actually hit a really good bunker shot out of the greenside bunker to around about 6 feet, and just hit a really tentative putt and missed. So I walked off the first with a bogey. That was pretty disappointing. But then I had the second par 3 over water, pretty solid par, just regulation, hit the green, 2 putts. On the third, I had 3 hybrid again, pushed it into the rough. I had a flyer lie, and I knew I had a flyer lie, and so I took out, had about 175 meters to the front part of the green, and that's all I was going for. And the pin was sort of towards the back of the green, and I hit this. It was sort of like a knuckleball that landed about 30 meters short of the pin, and just sort of bounded up to probably about 15 feet short. Anyway, I 2-putted that for a par, so I was pretty happy to get away with a par there. Again, the fourth, it's a par 3, pretty straightforward par 3. I made a regulation par, hit the green in regulation, 2 putts. The fifth is a par 5. And again, it forward tees, and it was downwind, only about 430 meters.
Oh, it's par
and I'm
4.
thinking, here we go. This is par 4.
Yeah.
I sort of blocked my drive out a little bit to the right, but I only had a 9-iron into the green, and I hit probably one of my worst 9-irons I think I could hit, which was sort of short.
What's going on?
Yeah, and then I pitched. Pretty poor pitch, about 30 feet past. Knocked my first putt 6 feet past.
Oh, no.
And I'm there going, I've got a 9-iron into the green for 2, and here I am with a 6-footer for par.
Battling for par.
Anyway, I made that. I hit actually quite a
that's
good
good. That's good.
And made that for.
So what are you sitting on now?
It was just really scrappy.
Yeah.
1 over. So look, I did say
could be so much worse.
Yeah, I did say that through 3 holes, of course, the opening 3 holes, especially 2 and 3, are pretty tough.
Yeah.
If I could get through those in 1 over, I was pretty confident that I could sort of, start putting a reasonable score together. So I was 1 over through 5. So I wasn't overly
not too bad.
disappointed with that.
It's not too bad.
Anyway, the 6 is another par 3. And again, hit a pretty poor 8-iron to the right-hand side of the green. Now, the 6th green, it sort of drops off a little bit on the right-hand side, just to sort of some sort of grass area, and then sort of a little bit long is a bunker. But left of the green is hazard. It's water, and about sort of 2/3 of the way across the green, it actually, there's a little hump, and then it's almost like a tear down off the left-hand side. So I was looking at my putt where I was just on the right-hand side of the green, and it was up the slope into the green and maybe 8 feet short of the top of the hump. The grain noticeably changed and then down grain all the way to the flag. So I've probably got about a 40-foot putt, and I'm going, wow, this is going to be really tough to get it anywhere near. And I was just really focused on speed. Anyway, I hit my putt fairly firm because I wanted to get it through the grain, but I wanted my speed to almost stop at the top of the hump, and then just trickle down grain to the flag. And speed was really, really good. Sort of, wasn't moving too quick at the top of the hump. Took a little bit of the break to the left, roll, drop. So nice little birdie, 32 there for
back to even.
6th, back to even. So standing on the 7th tee, I thought, okay, well, even through 6, this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. Hit a hybrid off the 7th tee. I only had a 9-iron into the green, and there's a tree that's sort of short left of the.
I'm looking at it now on my screen,
and I hit my 9-iron directly at that tree.
Why?
Just because it's nice. I like the tree. It's a nice looking tree.
You wanted the shade?
It's hit a branch really, really hard and ricocheted 90 degrees left into the bush. And I'm talking it probably went, I reckon, 30 meters left.
It would have done.
Into the bush.
Yeah.
And I just went, you couldn't have just dropped straight down. I would have had a relatively straightforward up and down.
Yeah. But no.
No, it's ricocheted 90 degrees and about 30 meters into the bush. And I've got down there, and it's all sort of twigs and leaves and loose matter on the ground. And I couldn't actually hit a wedge because the branches were fairly low of the tree that's on the left-hand side of the green there. So I just grabbed a 9-iron, and all I could do is just hit a pitch and run, which I did really well. I pitched it up probably to about 15 feet and binned the putt for par.
Nice.
So I sort of, walked off going, wow, dodged a bullet there. Pretty happy that I've made par, and I'm still even par through 7. So stood on 8, par 5. I hit my driver down the left-hand side of the fairway, but the problem with the left-hand side of the fairway is you run out of room and there's a hazard there. And I was pretty sure my ball was in the hazard. And when I got down there, it was actually in the hazard.
It was in the hazard, yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with that. So I took a drop. All I could really do is just pitch it out because it's behind some trees. Pitch it out sort of to around about 165 meters short of the flag, or short of the green, and at this point in time, we had a really long wait. Like the guys in front, it was a little bit of a slow day being a stroke event. Probably waited for a good 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
Now the shot into the green, it's basically right in front of the green again is a hazard, and they had the pin cut only about 3 or 4 meters over the hazard. And it's actually quite a shallow green, and over the green is bunker. So I had quite a narrow landing area. So I was actually aiming left of the green. I thought, okay, well, if I am left of the green, I've got a relatively straightforward up and down for bogey. Don't want to mess with the hazard. I was a little bit sort of down. It was sort of down and crosswind, so I thought it was about a club of downwind. So I took a club less. I took a 6 sign, and actually hit a really, really good shot, but it came up short into the hazard.
Oh.
So anyway, I got down there. I actually, as in when I initially hit it and it landed, of course it was a little bit bright, I didn't quite see, and I thought it had got over. But then my playing partner said, no, in the hazard. So I was pretty disappointed with that.
Mm.
So I got down there, took a drop, and at this stage I've got about a 50-metre pitch and really, really tough little pitch, of course, no green to work with. And yeah, bunkers long.
Yeah.
So I proceeded to chunk it back into the water again.
Oh, no.
So here I am. I've just hit on the 8th hole. I've hit 3 shots into the water, and I've had to basically drop it at my feet, and I've got exactly the same shot in front of me.
Andy Walker.
However, I hit actually quite a really, really good pitch. It landed about sort of pin high and just sort of skipped, maybe about 15 feet past. Greens were sort of a little bit firm, so it didn't sort of grab as much as what I wanted it to. But now I've got this sort of downhill putt where the flag is sort of just over a little sort of slope, and I tried to lag it down there and knocked it about 8 feet past. Mm. So I'm looking at this 8-footer. And I rested, so I'm sort of, marked it and I'm counting my shots up. And I'm like, this is for 9. So I've got an 8-foot putt for 9. No, and I'm going, I can't make double figures, man. So now I whack it down. I was pretty confident of the line, and I actually hit a really, really good putt, and it went straight in the middle. So I was like, wasn't obviously really unhappy with the 9, but also glad that I didn't make it to double figures.
How many rounds in a row now have you posted a quadruple bogey on a par 5?
Yeah,
that's 3 in a row.
It's my second, so two in a row. It's just terrible having playing off. I was playing off 2. It's just. 4 over in 1 hole, it just absolutely kills your momentum and kills your round. Yeah. I've gone from even par to 4 over.
4 over, yeah.
And just going, what's that?
It's Rory McIlroy-esque is what that is.
So anyway, look, it's interesting because I didn't feel as though I hit. I mean, the chunk chip wasn't great, I know, but I didn't feel as though I deserved to walk off with a 9. Mm. I sort of went, maybe, bogey or double bogey. I didn't feel like I deserved a 9, but, that's golf and you got to walk off and go to the next hole. True. Anyway, I made a pretty solid par at 9, down the fairway onto the green, 2 putts, pretty much regulation, and turned 4 over.
Yeah.
So 10's a par 5, and again, pretty regulation, par, middle of the fairway. Hit my second shot, sort of to about 100 out. Hit it on the green, 2 putts. The 11th is a par 4. Now, usually a fairly challenging par 4. I normally take either a 4 fairway or my 3 hybrid off the tee because there's a fairway bunker that's that's sort of 240 down the fairway. So if I hit driver, I would definitely sort of hit it in it. But we were teeing off the very forward markers, like markers that I've never teed off before.
So you might carry it.
So I've grabbed driver and absolutely ripped a driver down over the fairway bunkers to about 55 metres short of the green.
Nice.
Which I said, thank you very much. I've gone from, about a 7 or 8 on usually into the green to a flick 58.
Yeah.
Hit a reasonably good pitch shot to probably about 10 feet and hit a very ordinary putt. Nice little lag down to a few inches and tapped in for par.
That's okay.
No damage done. No, on 12, now 12 is a par 3. pin was sort of tucked to the left, and there's actually water left.
Water all the way up the left, yeah.
Yeah. So I was aiming into the middle of the green, and I hit a hard pull left of the flag, sort of towards the left-hand side of the green. And as soon as I hit it, I went, wow, that's water. But because I'd sort of, I'd sort of gone over land, and it was going to bounce into the water, I sort of walked down there, and I found my ball probably about a meter out of the water. I don't know how it stayed up, because usually it's just absolutely dead there. Like, it never stops short of the water, but this one did, about a meter short of the water. But it was a really tricky pitch shot, because the bank's pretty steep, and the pin's only cut like just on the left-hand side of the green. So I pitched it about maybe 15 feet past, missed the returning, took another bogey. So 5 over at this point in time. 13, my dreaded 13th hole, which I hit my 3 hybrid into the fairway bunker, which was just very ordinary. Hit a bit of a rank 9-iron out of the fairway bunker.
So there's 4 fairway bunkers there up the right. Which did you manage to find?
The front one.
The first one?
Well, actually, no, sorry. So the second one. So, because the first one's pretty short. So it's the second one, but there's a grouping of 3. Yeah. So it's that first one of the grouping of 3.
Okay.
But it's got a pretty steep lip, so I could only hit a 9-iron out of it.
Still about 140 metres out at that point.
Yeah, I managed to hit it right of the green into that green side bunker on the right-hand side. Pitched out of the bunker, fairly long bunker shot, to around about maybe 15 feet, and left it in the middle of the hole about 3 inches short.
Nice.
So again, walk off with bogey.
What are you up to now?
Moved to 14.
You're up to now?
6 over.
6 over.
6 over. Pretty regulation par on 14, just down the middle of the fairway onto the green. Actually hit a really good putt. I thought my putt was had a reasonable shot, but again, it was in the middle of the hole, about 3 inches short. On 15, the par 5, again, pretty regulation par. Hit a really good tee shot. Only took a 4-iron from a second, because I couldn't reach the green in 2, and there's water all down the left-hand side. Hit a wedge to, around about 20 feet, and just 2-putted for par. So that was pretty straightforward.
Solid.
16, I hit one of my overdraws.
Oh, this could be trouble.
Yeah, it was. I actually was hard up against a tree, and I had to hit sort of a backhand shot where I sort of turned around, had my back to the target, and I didn't want to hit it left-handed. I just cannot hit left-handed shots. So I'm
it's very difficult. Like left-handed golf is particularly difficult. So only highly qualified and highly skilled golfers can do that. So good decision.
Yes, correct. So back to the target, and just had to knock it back out onto the fairway. Had about 98 meters, I think it was, to the flag. Hit a okay sort of 50-degree wedge to around about 12 feet, and missed the putt. So moved to 7 over.
Ouch.
17th. Now 17th was playing really short, the par 3 over water. That's the one that we talk about, which sort of reminds me a little bit of Sawgrass, the 17th Sawgrass. I was only playing 78 meters.
Wow.
And so I took out my 58 degree, and I hit a great 78 degree to about 40 feet.
Long, short, so, look, left, right, like what?
Right, just hit it like it was. And I was actually lucky not to go into the water, to be honest with you. I was just on the right fringe of the water. I thought it was going to continue to roll right and sort of down the bank into the water, but it stopped. So I was fairly thankful for that. 2-putted that for par, so I was 7 over. So I needed to make par down the last to break 80. I hit a reasonably good tee shot. Now the par 4 is a dogleg sort of left around water. There's water all the way down the left-hand side. and quite a long hole. And it gets actually, if you hit driver, it's really narrow, and there's not a lot of it's quite shallow because you've got to sort of take over the corner of the water, and
you've got the fairway bunkers as well. There's no bailout.
It's really quite shallow. So I only took a 3 hybrid, which left me a 4-iron into the green, and I just hit a pretty ordinary 4-iron into the right-hand bunker, pitched out to about 15 feet, and a nice easy 2-putt for bogey.
Nice.
80. Thank you very much.
80.
On the way.
Well played. It's not bad.
It's not Glenmore.
If you take the quadruple bogey out of it, it's a pretty decent round of golf.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's sort of, because this is where I was, and why I say, well, I feel as though I'm back where I was in February, March. Of course, this is what I was like in February, March. I felt like good shots. I felt like good golf wasn't far away. I was hitting a lot of really good shots, but I was just hitting some really dreadful shots as well. Just that, I guess, lack of competition, the rust that's sort of crept back into the game through not playing. I also felt as though my over the top swing was coming back a little bit. Which, I'd worked pretty hard to get out of that, and it was starting to sort of drop into the slot quite well when I was playing well. But because of the gap in between, I actually, my injury, just some old habits started to come back in.
I was actually thinking about this after listening to the previous episode when the Comp Rounds Part 1 episode when you were talking about Glenmore. The thought kind of had crossed my mind about the potential that the injury may have been in part caused by the move that you were trying to make with a bit more, sort of upper body rotation. And whether there is some level of subconscious protection going on that's leading to reverting back into some of those old habits.
Yeah, look, and I think there's certainly some of that. There's no doubt. I mean, it's a lack of practice. Those swing changes were not even remotely close to being grooved. So it's something that I spent, 10, 12 years grooving in as a sort of teenager and 20s. So, a few months, 6 months of trying to make some swing changes is not going to change 12 years of pretty solid practice. So yeah, there is that, but then also a little bit of protection from the injury as well has definitely sort of crept in, and there was, it was a bit, I wouldn't say tentative, but just apprehension, I guess is the right word for it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's totally fair. Okay, so that's Kooindah.
Yep.
Should we move into Carnarvon?
Well, just on that as well, from a finish perspective, I finished a tie for 9th.
Oh, right. Okay, that's pretty good.
Right. So I had a top 10 finish, which I was
nice.
not unhappy with.
Was that a qualifying event for the Senior Open or no?
No,
but Carnarvon is.
No, Carnarvon is. So just on that, because I started my Senior Order of Merit journey after Camden. So I started at 153, right? After Glenmore, I blew out to 201.
Ooh.
After Kooindah, I'd moved dramatically back up the rankings to 140.
Okay.
So I was, and we've now got Carnarvon as well. I was at ranked 140 at that point in time. I only played 3 events. I mean, some of these guys, playing, I think I saw one that had played 21 events for the Order of Merit. So the Order of Merit, it goes on sort of similar to your FedEx Cups and Race to Dubai and those ones, in that it's points, and you get allocated a certain number of points depending on when how high you finish, but it's your top 14. So once you get past 14, you're effectively playing just to try and get a better score than your 14th best score.
Sure. It's a little bit like the handicapping system.
Yeah, sort of like that, except you could say no, if number 20 is in the top 14, that's still gonna rank in there. So it's not chronologically and it drops out.
No, it's just for the full year
after 20 rounds. So it's the full year, yeah, yep. Effectively. So so I've only played 3 rounds and I'm 140. So wasn't. So
are you basically suggesting that you're going to catch Dave McClelland? Is that the?
No,
is that sort of where you feel that it's going to get to?
I've got probably no hope of catching David McClelland because while he wasn't the 21, he was up there in the number of rounds that he's played. So anyway,
I see.
So onwards and upwards to Carnarvon, which I actually played earlier this week. Now Carnarvon, I haven't played Carnarvon for 30 years. And look, I have good memories of Carnarvon, what I remembered of the golf course. I do remember it's very tree lined, it's very tight, but just not very long. So if you can keep it on the fairway, it's a relatively easy golf course. So I did have it in mind when I was driving down there. If you can get off the tee and just sort of get it into the middle of the fairway, you're going to be in a pretty good position to be able to make a good score. So it was a shotgun start. So I teed off 6. So if anyone doesn't know what a shotgun start is, it's effectively everyone tees off at the same time and you get allocated a hole that you tee off. So you don't tee off 1 or 10. I had to go out to the 6th tee and I teed off the 6th tee. Now the 6 is a par 4 sort of dogleg right. After the dogleg, it sort of goes up the hill a little bit. I measured out to the end of the fairway and it was only about 225 to the end of the fairway. So I had a choice of either taking my 3 hybrid and just hitting it down the fairway and probably having a 6 or a 7 iron in.
Cut the corner, Andy Walker. Launch it over the trees. Launch it over the trees.
Launching it up over the trees.
Every day of the week.
So that's what I did. And absolutely smoked a drive up over the trees exactly where I was aiming. 251 meters, which I was pretty happy uphill. Nice. And I actually, on the line that I hit, even though I'd cut the corner, I still went through the fairway a little bit into the left rough. But I only had a pitching wedge into the green, which because the greens are actually quite small at Carnarvon. That's sort of the other thing as well. So you don't have a lot of sort of area to work with. So I hit a pitching wedge into the middle of the green and a pretty standard sort of 2-putt to start.
Solid.
When we got up to the green, and I didn't really feel this on the practice putting green, I thought the greens were a reasonable speed. They actually had the speed of the green, which is a first. I've never actually seen a club display the speed of the green. So the speed of the green was 10.2.
So they did do that at Pacific Dunes when we played.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the first time that I've actually seen a club display the speed of the green.
Ironically enough, at Pacific Dunes, where they do that, you might remember we'd played not that long after the greens had been caught and top dressed and and the grass had regrown, and I think the speed on it they'd said was super slow. But they did have a thing on there,
and it was.
They did have a thing on their notice board for green speeds, though. So yeah, it's a really, really good thing to do. Assuming, of course, that all the greens are running at the same or a similar speed.
Yes. Yep. Well, I mean, at Carnarvon, I actually think the greens were quite good. I was pretty happy with the greens and the green speed. They were pretty grainy. There was a definite, you walking up to the green and onto the green, you could definitely see the differences in the grain.
Yeah, I mean, 10.2, that's not that fast.
It's not that fast, no, but they were small. So, and they were small and they were hard and it was Kaiku fairways, which made it a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't actually land it short of the green, otherwise it would stop. And a lot of the time you actually landed on the green. It would just take this massive bounce to start off with. And there were a number of pins that were on the front of the green, which means it was really tough to get it close.
Excuses. Anyway, on to the seventh.
So seventh it's a par three, around about 155 meters, slightly downhill. I hit a 7-iron, which I thought was pretty good, and it landed probably about half a meter short of the of getting over the bunker. I landed in the bunker and just came back down in. Hit an okay bunker shot, I guess, to about 15 feet, missed the putt, so made bogey.
Not too bad.
On 8.
Water up the right.
Again, I sort of half considered taking my three hybrid off the tee.
No. Rip it.
Also, it's not a 3 hybrid, 3 utility, I should say, off the tee.
Rip it and
decided pretty quickly against that.
This is driver all day long for mine.
Best drive of the day. And again, where the tee box is, the angle of the tee box and the fairway, you're actually sort of hitting away from the water, which sort of made it a little bit easier. And I hit a draw, so my shot shape is away from the water. 278 meters.
Oh, that's a cracker, Andy.
So that is over 300 yards, 304 yards.
It's a great shot. So you're left with about 75, 80.
89 meters to the flag. So yeah, I was about 50 meters in front of my playing partners.
That's a cracker.
They were a long way behind. But yeah, hit a pretty ordinary 54-degree wedge to around about 30 feet right of the flag, and 2 putted for par. So I still 1 over through 3. 9's quite a short par 4. Hit a very ordinary overdrawn drive, which when I got down there was actually really lucky that I had a shot, because I was sort of right in the middle of these sort of a group of bushes that if I was in the bush, it was unplayable and I'd be taking a drop. But I could still, there were still overhanging branches, and sort of there's a bit of a slope up to the green. So I sort of walked up there, and being KQ, I sort of thought, it was pretty firm. So I thought maybe I could, just get my pitching wedge and run it up, which is sort of what I decided to do. Had a, really, really clear spot picked out, and I reckon I landed it on the blade of grass that I'd looked at. And it skipped up to about 2 meters short of the flag, and I binned it for birdie.
Nice.
So walked off the 9th, which was my 4th hole, even par. And I thought, this is okay.
Good. This is good.
It feels good. I mean, my drive on 9 wasn't great, but I'd hit some really, really good shots, which gave me a little bit of confidence.
And it's top 2. Go through to the Senior Open?
Yes. Yep.
Top 2.
Yep. So the other thing with Carnarvon is that it's got 4 par 5s, and they're all reachable for 2. So again, I was sort of thinking that if I can get off the tee and get it sort of somewhere around sort of 250 down the fairway,
your chance.
I've only got an iron into the greens. So I was pretty confident that there were birdies out there to be made. So down 10, 10's par 5, hit a really good tee shot down 10, 255 meters. So I only had less than 200 into the green, and I hit my 3 utility only about 100 meters and just went straight left into the trees.
Nice, good shot.
And I just looked at it and went, where did that come from?
Snappy?
Like,
a smother.
It was just a smother.
Yeah.
It was just rank.
Yeah.
And I just happened, because I felt pretty good.
So what do you reckon? What do you reckon happens then? Do you reckon you'd dig the heeling on the way through? Is that what happens? Is turn the club face over?
Look, to be honest with you, I don't know. It's just a guess.
Yeah.
As to what what happened, because this, as I said, the swing didn't really feel that bad, which
that's
is
a concern.
It's a bit strange, and it just came out awful. So anyway, I sort of got down there, and I had two choices. I could either effectively pitch out sideways and sort of still have 100 odd meters to the flag, or I could sort of go down the other side of the tree line and get it closer to the green and effectively pitch back across to the pin. So I decided to do that because that was going to be a shorter pitch shot. Hit an okay sort of little 4-iron because I again had to keep it under the branches. Sort of got down there, and what I didn't realize is that I had a pitch shot over a greenside bunker, and the green sloped away from me down to the flag. I was also in this sort of scungy, rough lie that wasn't great. So it probably, look, if I knew the course better,
you wouldn't play that.
Would have taken a different option, but obviously I didn't, and that's where I was. Hit a bit of a thin 58 degree, about halfway, but landed halfway in between the greenside bunker and the flag, and just bounced really hard and off the side of the green.
Ouch. See, I just think it's always risky making the decisions to play the course not the way the course is meant to be played. When you go playing up other holes, there's certain holes that you can do it and it's fine. Like, at Dubbo 12, for example, playing it up 13 is totally fine. But there's often you end up in this sort of a situation where you go, oh, that's now going to cause me a bigger issue, even though I'm closer to the green than what I might have been playing a 120 metre shot from the fairway. So anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it did. I could see that it opened up down near the green, which is why I decided to go that route rather than sort of pitching out sideways. But anyway,
it's just the angle of attack that you've got to come at the green from.
Exactly. So anyway, I get down to the off the other side of the green and get down to my ball, and again I've got a really tricky. It was a really thin hard pan lie, so I didn't want to take my 58 and try and nip it. So I just grabbed a 7-iron just to run it sort of up the bank and onto the green. Hit it to about sort of 15 feet, which I actually thought the pitch and run was better than the end result, but that's where it ended up, and took an easy 2-putt for double.
Ouch. I mean, look, it's the right strategy because I think on those sorts of shots, when it's a tricky greenside shot, you've got to think about how bad's a bad shot going to be when you select that type. And with the 58,
well, it was a par 5.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take another 9.
You didn't want to take another 9. But you take the 58 there, and the bad shot off a bit of an iffy lie can still be at your feet. You take the 7-iron 100%. and a bad shot's to 20 feet. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, the 11th hole is a par 4, relatively short par 4, but it's really, really tight. Okay, again, I sort of half thought about taking the 3 utility off the tee, but thought, no, I'm hitting my driver pretty good, so wanted to hit my driver. Hit it down the right-hand side, and it sort of just leaked, and it was sort of leaking into the right rough, and I thought, oh, yeah, that'll be all right. Down there, sort of got down there, and it must have just caught some branches and sort of kicked it a little bit right, and I was basically behind a tree. Wouldn't say I was stymied, but I certainly couldn't hit a full shot, and I actually ended up having to hit just a punch 8-iron under the trees and just tugged a little bit into the left-hand bunker. But the problem with that is that the pin was on the left-hand side, and I'd short-sighted myself. So I actually had to play the shot with 1 foot out of the bunker and 1 foot in the bunker. Nice. And it was all downhill to the flag. I just had no chance of getting it close.
Yeah.
So I did my best. I pitched it out sort of to about 30 feet past after it sort of ran sort of all the way down the slope. Hit a putt that just didn't take the break. Actually hit it at what I thought was a good speed, but it ended up about 6 feet to the right of the hole. It was quite a large slope. and missed that.
Yeah.
Tapped in for another double bogey.
No. Double. Boom.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So I didn't take a quad, but I went double.
Yeah. I don't know which is worse. Double or quad par.
So I was pretty deflated walking off the 11th green, as you can imagine, because again, I was even through 4, felt pretty good, and I've 2 holes later I'm 4 over, going,
it's golf, though.
What is going on?
It's golf, but that's okay. We'll get it back on the
12th
next.
is a par 3. Hit a 6-iron right of the green. Had a relatively easy up and down. Sort of pitched to about maybe about 6 feet, and just hit an awful putt.
Oh, man.
Missed. So made bogey there.
Oh,
So
I'm starting to feel it, all the feels that you would have been feeling.
So I just thought, okay, I'm going to wipe this. It's just, I'm just going to start again. I'm going to go down to the 13th tee and just start again. So 13, I actually played pretty solidly. I hit it down the left-hand side, it just into the rough, but only had about a 70-meter pitch to the flag. Saw my playing partner from the middle of the fairway about 80 meters out, pitch it about pin high, and it's just bounced and off the green, and thought, wow, that's just tough. So I hit actually quite a good pitch, and I was coming out of the rough, so I was never going to get a huge amount of spin on the ball. Landed it just on the front of the green, took a pretty decent hop, but ended up probably about 30 feet past the flag. Wow. And when we sort of got up to the green was just sloping from front to back pretty dramatically.
That's not right.
It was really, really tough. Look, from the fairway, you should be able to hold the green. But
front to back sloping greens is questionable.
Yeah.
Course designers. Carnarvon course designers, if you're listening, sort yourselves out.
So look, I 2-putted and made a pretty solid par on 13. 14, hit a really good drive on 14, hit an 8-iron to about 6 feet. Actually hit a really, really good putt, but just broke when I didn't expect it to break, and just horseshoed out. So tapped in for par.
Yeah.
On what are we up to? We're up to 15. On 15, I've again hit a really good drive. I was about 70 meters from the flag. Again, nipped a really, really good 58-degree wedge. Pin was only maybe about 7 paces on. It landed halfway in between the fringe and the pin, and just took this almighty kick to about 15 feet past the hole. But I was pretty happy with the shot. I actually hit the shot that I was after. But I had this sort of really tricky sort of left to right downhill putt, which I 2-putted for par. The 16th is par 3, pretty regulation par, knocked on the green and 2-putted. The 17th is a par 5. And again, this was a par 5 that was reachable in 2, but I overdrew my tee shot.
The dreaded overdraw.
Yes, and just had no shot. Just had to punch a 5-iron out up the fairway to about 70 meters short of the green. Hit a reasonably good pitch. Again, the flag was on the front of the green, and it landed in the fringe and stopped in the coquille.
Yeah,
I could still putt it. It was only about a foot off the front of the green. 2-putted for par. 18, really good full fairway down.
Sorry, before you get up onto 18, like par, that's a good result for you on a par 5.
Making par.
Yeah,
it is. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
So on 18, par 4, strong par 4, but I knew that if I hit driver off the tee, I was going to run out of there's that water, which was 250 meters from the tee box. So I hit a full fairway down the left-hand side of the fairway. If I'd hit my driver on that same line, I would have been fine. But the it was so tight.
It's tight, yeah.
That the angle was really tight. I just wasn't confident that I was going to get, maybe 5 or 6 times out of 10, I would have, hit the fairway, but it was just too big of a risk with the water down the right. So I hit a really good 4 fairway, hit a 7-iron just onto the left fringe of the green, 2-putted for par. So I'd sort of turned 5 over. Walked across to the first. The first is a par 5, fairly short par 5. I've absolutely smoked a drive down the middle of the fairway. Only had a 4-iron into the green. And I've hit my 4-iron, I reckon, 30 meters right of the green. It was one of those. So I don't know if you ever watched the 1986 US Masters where Greg Norman on the last hit his 4-iron into the crowd.
Have you?
I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Well, go back and watch that shot, and that was the shot that I hit. It was. I actually hit it out of the middle of the club. To be honest with you, it was just 30 meters right.
So what you're saying is you've hit a Greg Norman-esque 4-iron.
Yes, that is exactly what I was doing. Anyway, I had a bit of a tricky pitch over a really big mound and sort of down to the flag, which I sort of, landed at, well, not quite where I wanted to, and hit sort of the downslope and ended up about 25 feet from the flag, 2-putted for par. So again, good result for a par 5.
Great
made par.
It's like you've clawed 4 shots back on the field there.
Where are we up to? We're up to the second. So at this stage, we've only got we've got four holes to play.
Yep.
And I'm 6 over? No, 5 over. Yeah, 5 over. Okay. So I'm sort of thinking, all right, well, I've got a par 5 in front of me, which I knew was reachable. It was downwind, and if I could maybe play the last 4 in even par or 1 under, then that's I wouldn't win, and I probably wouldn't get in the top 2, but it would be a reasonable result. So I hit a bit of a heel drive down the left-hand side of the second. 4-iron into the green. I hit just a leaky sort of 4-iron to off the right edge. Again, it was one of those sort of little scungy sort of lies that I didn't want to hit a 58-degree pitch, because I knew how hard the greens were and it probably wasn't going to stop. So I had to run an 8-iron through the Kooindah. I actually did that quite well. I ran it up to around about 6 feet and hit probably my second worst putt of the day.
Nice.
Which was sort of short and left and didn't even look like getting anywhere near the hole. So walked off with a bogey. So I'm 7 over. No, sorry, I'm 6 over. The third is a par, pretty strong par 3. I hit a 4-iron this time left of the green, but again, it was only probably maybe 6 feet off the green and I could putt it, but I proceeded to 3-putt.
Oh man!
To walk off with another bogey.
It's inspirational stuff so far, really.
Oh, it was the most frustrating thing. I can't tell you how frustrated I was. Yeah. So still on the par 5, a little bit angry, and absolutely smoked a drive down the middle of the fairway, and it was 287 meters. I hit this drive. Now it was downwind, I must admit, but I just stood up and just ripped it.
It's good. So what are you? A bit over 200 out?
Yeah, so I had a 4 hybrid, so I was 225, so I was right in my zone for the 4 hybrid, and I hit the 4 hybrid about 50 meters left,
which is better than right though, because it was out of bounds right.
Yes, yeah. It's out of bounds right. Yeah. Wasn't actually thinking about out of bounds right, but yeah, it was again a bit of a rank shot, and it actually off the left hand side of the green, it sort of goes down into a fairly steep hollow. It's probably a good sort of 7 or 8 meters down into the hollow, and I was on the other side of the hollow. And again, a really tricky pitch shot in that I didn't want to leave it short. Of course, again, sort of left with a fairly similar pitch. So I pitched it it actually hit a really, really good pitch about halfway between the fringe and the flag. And again, it just took a really big bounce and ended up sort of close to the right-hand side of the green, of which I had an easy 2-putt for par.
Nice. Did you make the 2-putt for par though?
Yes. Yeah, I 2-putted for par.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Just checking.
So fifth, my last hole, had to make par to break 80. I hit probably my worst drive of the day into the left trees.
God.
And I was absolutely dead. Like I just had no shot. I hit a 6-iron and I wanted to sort of, I had a little bit of a gap sort of at the sort of left rough, sort of, left, wasn't left-hand side of the green. It was sort of the left rough of the left-hand side of the green, and actually hit a reasonably good shot, but it just caught the top of one of the trees in front of me and sort of dropped down about 50 meters short of the green, of which I had a fairly straightforward sort of pitch up the green to the flag, and I missed the green.
That's not a recording glitch. That's just me sitting in silence going, what the actual Andy Walker?
It was like just the worst pitch. It was terrible. I mean, look, it was on the fringe, so I still could putt it.
Pulled it? Pushed it?
But pushed it. Just, I think I just sort of left the face open. And
got a bit wristy.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly good. No, I actually think it was anti-wrist. To be honest with you, it was sort of just one of those little, where the club face lags behind you, and
blocky. Yeah, okay.
So anyway, I'm left with this probably about a 40-foot putt to break 80, which I didn't make. I left it about 1.5 meters short.
Did you make that one to break 81?
Then I made that one to break 81. So shot 80 2 rounds in a row, where I had to make par at the last to break 80 and made bogey.
Wow. Okay.
So I guess it's really the same lessons from Kooindah, to be honest with you, in that there was a lot of really, really good ball striking mixed in with some absolutely horrendous ball striking. I had a bit of a poor day on the greens as well. I didn't feel as though I'm finding that, and again, I think this is just practice. I'm finding that I'm struggling to keep the club face square or the putter face square as I'm coming through. It was something that I actually got right and was doing quite well sort of throughout April and May, and I was really confident with my putting. But yeah, I'm just finding at the moment that it's really inconsistent, and it's not that I'm missing it left or missing it right. I'm missing it both sides of the hole, and I just can't. I'm really struggling to start the ball on my intended line. So yeah, I think I need to spend a little bit of time, just working on club face control and keeping the club face square through impact of my putting. And then
seems to be a putting mat drill potentially.
Yeah, with my ball striking again, I think it's just time. I don't think there's anything dramatically wrong as such. It's just rust, and just not being in the game,
which is bound to happen.
That I was. And look, I mean, if you take a couple of weeks off, you probably don't have too much of a drama. But 3 months it's a long time out of the game.
Yeah,
playing it, trying to get anywhere, under 80, you're going to struggle to do it unless you spend a fair bit of time playing.
Totally, and also let's be real about the fact that you've taken the time off, and it's not like you're going back into just some local social rounds or club comps at on the weekend. You're going into tournaments, which
exactly
raises the stakes even further. So it's not surprising. Like I actually think that's relatively encouraging shooting
Yeah.
couple of rounds.
Yeah,
of 80
and that's right. And I guess
like,
I haven't really sort of thought about it that much in the because I'm pretty disappointed, obviously, with 280s, because I feel as though I'm playing better than that, even though there's some ranked golf shots in there. I feel like I should be shooting, 2 or 3 shots better than, so somewhere around sort of 77, 78. But given it is, and the greens were tricky, and there were a number of the guys who played on Monday who said that the greens were pretty tricky, and they were very, very hard and difficult to get near. So it is tournament conditions, and to have 3 months off and still sort of shoot 80 in tournament conditions.
It's not bad. It's really not.
It's not bad, but I still can't help but to be disappointed with it.
Yeah. But I don't think it should be.
But I am.
I'm disappointed that you're disappointed.
I don't know. It's just that's my mindset, I guess, in that I have a certain I don't want to say expectation, but that's what it is.
So, episode 47 of the Missing Links Golf Show featured a man by the name of John Sherman, who spoke to us at some length about expectation management.
Oh, look, he's fairly knowledgeable, I must admit.
I would point you in the direction of that episode, Andy Walker. I think it's time to have another listen.
Yeah, maybe. I actually haven't listened to it since we recorded. So maybe I should just go back and listen to what
I think you may find some value out of listening to the wise words of Mr. Sherman. Because I think, it'd be nice to be shooting better scores for sure, and it'd be nice to not have made some of those mistakes. But I do think after some time off shooting 80 on the nose twice under tournament conditions, and particularly, of course, for the second one at Carnarvon, and of course that you're not familiar with because you haven't played it in 30 years, I actually think it's pretty good golf. Like, there's a lot of people, I have no doubt, there's a lot of people that will be listening to this podcast going, stop your whinging. I'd love to be shooting 80 in tournament conditions.
True.
In a stroke event, which is set up, with difficult pins and all those sorts of things. So
yeah, but what I say to most people when sort of talk about how I play golf is that if you spent sort of 10 years playing and practicing 4 to 6 hours a day every single day, there's a level of competence that comes with that.
Yeah.
Which you have with cricket. I mean,
well, not anymore because it's been a long time since I picked up a cricket bat. But
yeah, sure. But if you went and played some park cricket and some bloke got you out with a rank sort of long hop, you'd be pretty disappointed with that.
Mate, to be honest, that happened plenty of times during my playing career.
Yeah, well, I guess, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. And I don't disagree with you, but I also think that it's easy to beat yourself up about those sorts of things and walk away feeling bad. I think one of the lessons that we've learned is when you walk off the course after those rounds is unpacking some of the positives to take with you, because we're really good at reminding ourselves of the negatives, and we're really not so good about reminding ourselves of the positives. So
yeah. Look, when I'm shooting sort of mid to low 70s, it's very easy to practice acceptance.
Yeah, I know, and it is, and that's the whole point. That it's all well and good to do it when it's easy.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, interestingly though, I had a bit of think about it on the way home. I had about an hour or so sort of drive back up the coast just to mull over the day, and I sort of thought maybe I should just give tournament play a bit of a break for the next sort of month or so.
Ooh, controversial.
And just do a little bit of practice, play a couple of midweek rounds at my local club, a couple of Stableford rounds just to get myself back into the swing of things, because I think I played one Stableford round at my home club, and then straight into what sort of now 3-4 tournament rounds.
Well, I think it's sensible. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And then David McCollum sent me a message, asked me how I went, and sent me the entry to the Wyong Seniors, which I've now entered.
Oh, you're such a man of your word. You stick to a plan. I love it.
Integrity is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
There's no flip-flopping around.
No.
Any else? No any else in me.
You ban the broomstick. No, if it works, use it. Yeah.
Well, if it works for me, let's use it.
Yeah. If it works for someone else, let's ban it.
Yeah. So I have next week. I have actually booked into the Tuesday comp at my local club, which is good. And then the Wyong Seniors is on the 30th of September. So I've got a couple of weeks to go until the Wyong Seniors. So, well, actually, by the time this episode drops, it's probably not going to be a couple of weeks, but I'll be well on the way to, maybe having a few practice sessions on the practice putting green and getting a bit more time in the high performance centre.
Which is exciting. We do have a lot going on over the next couple of weeks as well. Both of us have got a holiday plan because the school holidays are fast coming upon us. But never fear, Pilgrims, because we will have enough episodes recorded for release during that period.
We have done a few, haven't we?
We have. We've got another one this week or next week. Two next week.
Yeah, two next week. Yeah, just to make sure we've got enough content to release.
There's plenty. There is plenty. And I mean, there's a bit more coming. We've got, we do have some exciting guests coming on the show in the next little period, which we'll talk more about in coming episodes. We are also looking at getting a very good friend of the show, Jason Butt, to come back on the show and have a little chat with us, Andy Walker. I was, without giving too much away, I was fortunate to catch up with Jason in person. Just last week. We talked all things Bob Vokey wedges.
Ooh,
yes,
wow, that's a bit of a
indeed.
Yeah. No spoilers, but that's just a little bit of a hint dropped right there.
That was quite the morning. So
wow. Okay, good.
So
we've talked about that a few times, and getting the wedges sorted out. And it was my opinion, because you were talking about getting a ball and putter fitting, and it was my very strong belief that you should go and get a wedge fitting. So
I took your advice. I took your advice because I don't think I need a ball fitting now, because I feel like I've landed on the perfect golf ball, and that is the Titleist Pro V1.
Yes.
For the lovely people at Titleist, free plug for you. Feel free to get in contact.
It's a very, very, very
good golf ball. It's the golf ball of choice on the Missing Links Golf Show, I think it's fair to say.
It is.
So I think we've solved that equation. Your point around the putter, I think, was a point well made. I don't think that's necessarily my major area of concern at the moment, and the thing that needs to be changed.
No. And again, come back to the point of what we discussed. It wasn't sort of last episode, or might have been the one before. Is your putting stats? If you look at your strokes gained putting stats,
it's fine.
You're better than a scratch marker. I mean,
it's actually the best part of my game at the moment.
You don't need to change your putter.
It's not the biggest issue. Short game has absolutely been the biggest issue. And let me just say this, without any spoilers, the hour and a half spent with Jason Butt on the range with the wide variety of implements designed by the great man Bob Vokey really exposed exactly why I've been having these issues around the greens.
Yeah.
There is there's quite a bit to come on that topic.
Actually, if I can talking about strokes gained, if I can sort of come back to
good point.
My 2 rounds from because we didn't talk about the strokes gained for those two rounds. So for Kooindah, my first 80, my strokes gained, if you all up, the strokes gained for the round was minus 8.3 in comparison to a scratch handicapper. Driving was minus 2.9, approach play minus 3.2, short game minus 3.1.
Ooh.
And putting was +1.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, minus 3.1 for short game when you're chunking them in the water in front of par 5. So I guess that's not going to help.
No, that's not going to help your stats at all.
Yeah.
With those. So then we come to Carnarvon, and strokes gained was minus 5.5 overall for the round.
Better.
Driving was plus 0.7.
You weren't talking about the number that you smoked off the tee in that round, so I'm not surprised.
No, I actually felt as though, I mean, hit a couple of ordinary drives, but the vast majority of my drivers were actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Approach play, minus 3.3.
Yes. So still similar.
Yep. Short game, plus 0.2.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. And then putting was minus 3.1. And as I said, I felt as though I had a really ordinary day on the greens, and that sort of played out in the strokes gained.
Well, I think that's given you some pretty clear indication of where the focus needs to be.
Which is?
Not so much when you're driving. Definitely your approach play.
Well, it's interesting because if you take Kooindah, my driving was minus 2.9.
Yeah.
So my driving was so it's the approach play really, which was poor both rounds. So driving was minus 2.9, whereas it was plus 0.7.
Yeah.
My short game at Kooindah was minus 3.1, and it was plus 0.2 or something. It was. It's at Carnarvon with in putting at Kooindah was +1, but it was like minus 3.
Yeah, that's a consistency. You've had a mechanical issue on the greens at Carnarvon, or also potentially just not used to those greens. But part of it as well is you got to dig into it a little bit further and figure out the why bit. Like you look at the driving thing, and I'm just remembering from the narrative through those 2 rounds, the really good drives that you hit at Carnarvon when you were getting your good results were with driver, when you were bombing it and getting yourself in a really good position. Obviously, there was a couple of little smothers into the left trees, but broadly speaking, your good drives were with driver. And I feel like at Kooindah, the missed fairways might have been due to hybrids or fairway woods more so than an issue with driver.
What I'm actually finding, and this is quite interesting, and I'm going to have to put a bit more thought into it, as you said, is that when I'm playing a course and where I strategically hit a lot of utility irons and 4 fairways, even though I might hit the same number of fairways, because I'm obviously not as far down the fairway as what I'm hitting driver, that has a pretty big impact on strokes gained.
And it will.
Yeah.
And it will. So that calls into question.
That's a strategic. That's a strategic.
Yeah, it is. But it calls into question: is the strategy right?
Well, I think certainly for the golf courses that, because I'm looking at the way I look at it is that I look at where the trouble is. I look where the fat part of the fairway is, and that's what I aim for. I'm always aiming for the fat part of the fairway,
which sounds logical. However, is a more aggressive strategy going to give you better benefit when it goes right, and actually less of a detriment than you think it's going to when it doesn't go 100% right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not telling you to go out there and gung-ho and pull driver on every hole other than a par 3, but maybe that would be worth testing just to see what result that actually gave you on a strokes gained perspective.
What I find, and of course, like say, Kooindah waters, the penalty for missing the fairway.
Yeah,
I mean, they call it Kooindah waters for a reason. I mean, there's water everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And the fairways aren't, I mean, they're wide at times, but there's also some really narrow parts of the fairway. And if you miss, you are dead. You're taking a drop, basically, which is why in those conditions, I still don't feel as though my driver is strong enough to consistently, keep it in play, which is why I hit a lot of utilities and four fairways when I played in the Kooindah Seniors. So that's probably got a fair bit to do with
I
the
get
end
that.
result.
I get that, but I
strokes
would
gained.
urge you to actually look at your stats and see how correct that statement is. May not be. You might not be as inaccurate with your driver as you think you are versus not being as accurate with your four fairway and utility iron as you think you are.
Yeah. I don't know. I look back at my stats or my scores. So when I started around about, in November, December last year, I was hitting driver a lot, and I can see the round where I dropped back because and this is when I had the M3s as well, and I just had completely lost confidence with the M3s, and I went back to playing utilities and four fairways off the tee in most instances in a lot of clubs, in a lot of the golf courses I was playing. And my scores went from, like 83s and 81s. There's a 77 in there when we played Mudgee. But then I dramatically dropped down to like 74. There's a couple of 78s in there. There's a couple of 80s as well. There's a sort of, there's the good score, the 70 at Kooindah, 74 at Camden. So I feel as though when I made that strategic decision that my strokes gain dropped, but my scoring improved.
It's a bit counterintuitive, but yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, but okay.
So
to be continued.
Look, it's to be continued. I mean, I think that now that, since the club fitting and having the, the TSR threes, I think that definitely makes a big difference. And, that strategy probably needs to be reassessed.
Fair enough. Well, Andy Walker, we've just ticked over the 1.5 hour mark for this podcast. And as per your earlier remarks about this could go on forever, I'm not convinced that that's in our best interest.
Who would have thought that I could talk about me so much?
Oh, pilgrims, give me strength. Anyhow,
it's what they say. It's everyone's favorite subject.
It's themselves, yeah. But that's all good because we all have our turns, and you had 2 rounds of golf to talk about. So well done. Anyway, I think that is about it. We have got a few more episodes to record in over the next week, so plenty more to put out. And pilgrims, it's been a lot of fun. I think that's probably pretty much it for this episode, Andy Walker, unless there's anything else that you would like to say.
Oh, look, there's plenty I'd like to say, but probably not a lot that I should.
Okay. So what will you say?
Rock out, pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, pilgrims.